the biggest challenge that I see with a lot of us is that we can mistake accepting how things are with giving up. In other words, if you're in a situation that you don't like now, financially, emotionally, even physically, and you're like, well, this is my situation, this is what is, this is the reality of it. Sometimes we can mistake that for saying that we're not going to do anything about it or that we can't do anything about it. We mistake that for giving up hope. But they're really two different things. The thing is that when we actually accept where we are, then we begin to have gratitude for what we do have, because we have a kind of like a sound check on reality. Now, when we actually have that gratitude, then we start to open our eyes into things that could be better or more insightful, things that can actually open doors. As that old saying goes, when a door closes, then another window might open, or something to that effect. Like I screwed up the cliche, but you understand what I'm trying to say. And so when we're tied up in how rotten our current situation is, that's all that we see, because we accept that as a reality. But when we actually say, this situation sucks, and there's some good stuff that's coming out of it, and there's some lessons that I can learn, then suddenly the things start to shift. Suddenly the energy starts to shift. And suddenly you start to have gratitude for where you are. And once you start to have gratitude for where you are, then you start to see opportunities. And once you see opportunities, then you can actually change your situation. Changing have to get to shifts it from an obligation to a privilege. I have to get up in the morning to go to work. I have to get up in the morning to take care of my kids. I have to get up. I have to do this particular thing to get this other thing done. I have to do this thing to get a paycheck. Let's take all those and shift them. I have to get up in the morning to go to work. I get to get up in the morning because I have a job or a career in my case, right? Always go for the career, not just the job, right? I have to get up in the morning to take care of my kids. I get to get up in the morning because I have kids and I wanted them and I have a family. I have to do this thing to get a paycheck. I get to do this thing and actually get paid for it. It changes the vibe of things. You need to set your own metrics. I talk about this quite a bit in Build From Now, How to Know Your Power, See Your Abundance, and Nourish the World. It's available at damonbrown.net and all your favorite retailers. I'll be sure to get a signed copy if you come through damonbrown.net. That's what I talk about in Build From Now, where you have to set up your own metrics. Going back to like freelancing, which is what I've been a freelance journalist for many, many years. I talk about that in the Damon Brown Reader and in a couple of the videos here on this channel. One of the things that we've been obsessed with as independent freelance journalists is becoming the six-figure freelance writer. So making six figures, 100,000 plus on freelance writing. Many years ago, I realized that wasn't the metric that I wanted. When I discovered passive income, which I have a video on that, several videos, in fact, I have a playlist that I'll link up here. When I discovered passive income, my metric ended up becoming, I don't want to get six figures per se. Nothing wrong with six figures. I like six figures. I don't want to get six figures per se. I want it so that I get enough passive income so that becomes my main income. And any main income I get ends up being gravy, investment for my family, whatever. I knew so many people who were six-figure writers who were burning themselves out, who had to work so hard. I mean, think about how many, and I'm talking about just journalism, how many articles you have to write, or how much you have to negotiate to get paid to write for each of these articles to make six figures. I got two little kids at home. I'm the primary caretaker. You know, I like to have naps during the day. So I'm not that dude. Like I'm not. But I am super prolific when it comes to creating product and services and so forth. As I talk about my passive income videos, I have about 50 streams of passive income. I think I'm bubbling around just under 50. I have about 48. By the time my new book, Career Remix, comes out, I'll probably be at about 52 or so, because I have the audiobook of that, I have the Kindle version, etc. But I also have this YouTube channel, which is part of my passive income, which is part of why I started it, and we're on our 150th or so episode right now. This is part of my passive income too. That's the metric for me. So me saying I need to make six figures every year, not only was it stressful, but if I made six figures at that rate, 20% or more here in America is going to taxes. So I'm really making 80,000. and then I'm tired by the end of the year, it doesn't fit for me. But me creating product and services, serving you, talking into talking to a camera, to hundreds, now becoming thousands of you out here in YouTube land and on these different shows, I can do that. I can go in my closet over here and record an audiobook, and that becomes a passive income stream. And now, over the last couple of years, my passive income has been hitting the 5 figures. Looks like it's going to happen again this year. I'm thankful for that. That's a metric that makes sense for me. And I'm able to spend time with my kids, and with passive income, that money's coming in. That's a metric. If my metric was just making it a 6-figure writer, I'd probably be burnt out right now, because the type of writing that I do makes it difficult to reach 6 figures. Either I'd have to go and negotiate really hard for the articles that I write, or I'd have to write so many articles that I would burn myself out by the time November, December came around for that year. You have to have metrics that fit your life. My life is my partner and my 2 kids. My life is spending time with y'all. My life is meditating in the corner over here on my little pad and taking a nap on the couch over there and having a fluid life. Otherwise, if I'm going the independent route, why should I work myself to death? So come up with your own metrics. If you understand the sacrificing it takes to make these certain strides that you're jealous at other people for making, then maybe you'll think twice about the metrics that you're going after. And that can help the jealousy go away. Number 3, you have to stretch your timeline. I've talked about this a lot if you've been following any of my books, from The Ultimate Bites as an Entrepreneur, all the way to the recent one, Built From Now. I even talked about this in Career Remix. We put so much pressure on ourselves to get things done in a short period of time. We can get almost anything done, but we might need to stretch the timeline. I talked about this in the Entrepreneur in Residence that I had over at the Toledo Library. It's finally becoming public because it was actually a private thing for a little while. I'm actually putting them and making them available for you for free over on this channel. So I'll throw the link over here. One of these corners, in the left-hand corner, right-hand corner, you'll see the link when it happens. But that's fresh off the press, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's 3 sessions. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And yeah, I worked really hard on it. But I talk about that extensively as far as stretching your timeline with my previous startup, So Quotable, as I talk about in Build From Now, with the people who were doing in the startup world. They could have did the app that I did, So Quotable, which allowed you to capture people's quotes. They could have done that app, programmed it, the whole thing in like 5 days. It was a really simple app, right? I won't get into details, but it was super simple. For my colleagues and my peers who weren't married, didn't have little kids at home, because I was a primary caretaker of my baby at the time, people who weren't in that situation, didn't have a mortgage, had to just take care of themselves, they probably could have did that in 5 weeks. It took me 5 months. 5 months to get So Quotable out. Proud of the work. I was still very much available as a primary caretaker of then my wife and I's baby. He was like 4 months old at the time, so cute little kid. Had to make sure that he was good. That led to me doing a TED Talk, my first TED Talk, and all the rest is history. But I had to stretch my timeline, and there were many frustrating mornings because I worked super early in the morning because I was taking care of my kid during the day. There were mornings where I wake up super frustrated because I knew that someone else who had less responsibilities or had different priorities, let's be real about it, could have gotten it done in 5 days to 5 weeks. It took me 5 months from September to March. So whatever that is, 6 months? It took me that long to get it out. I got it out just in time for my first TED Talk. But because I stretched my timeline, I'm speaking to you today. Because if I said I have to get it done in 5 days, I would have burnt myself out. You see the pattern here? I would have burnt myself out, let go of my responsibilities, and then I wouldn't be the father that I am today, which is hopefully a good one. So it depends on what your priorities are. So if you stretch your timeline, you get a lot of things done. I found that we tend to get jealous when we look at other people's work and we say, they got it done so easy, they're overnight success, etc., etc. Where it took a long time. For me to have the 48 passive income streams that I have, it took me about 5-6 years. The original Bites as Entrepreneur came out in August of 2016. Just had the anniversary earlier this year. My 8th book, Career Remix, is coming out in a few months. Again, January 11th, 2022. That's 8 books within a 5.5 year stretch. That's why I have 50 passive income streams. That's nothing to be jealous of, because you understand, as I'm trying to share with you, how the sausage is made. But that timeline couldn't be shortened. It had to take 5 years to that many books to build a community with y'all and hopefully give you some type of service. So stretch your timeline, and maybe you'll find a little bit more patience and be less jealous of what other people are doing.